What's up, everybody? It's Lids, and we're back for some more Mardek. And of course, last time we made it successfully through the Fire Guardian fight. However, the World Saviors, well, they figured that was probably a good time for them to try to get one up on us and try to take the Fire Crystal off our hands. And, well, they kind of succeeded. So, this time round, I've done a lot of leveling and mastering skills in between. So people are much higher level here, as you can probably see. We have everyone at 50% or thereabout fire resistance, in addition to having the mastered 50% magic fire resistance as well for spells. And so that means that we're in pretty good shape for the Fire Guardian. Other big thing is that we have a lot of people having mastered suppleness, mostly our physical attackers, so Vern will have it, Mardek will have it, and Legion will also have it. Not that we're going to be using too many physical attacks with Legion, more so the tsunamis, but that should be a big difference maker for the Fire Guardian, because it was a difficult fight, but it was mostly the numbness that slowed us down. So we have that, and then we have other skills mastered and things in our inventory so that we can switch over after the Fire Guardian fight and prepare ourselves for the World Saviors fight. Because that's the other thing, is obviously when we went into the World Saviors fight, we were not on full HP, not on full MP, we had some statuses, I think some people were still numbed, so if we can get rid of all those statuses and heal up, and also even switch some of our skills, maybe some of our gear, then that can make a big difference. So, let's start now by setting things up for the Fire Guardian. I think we're in good shape for that, then we'll just want to transition after that fight into our World Savior setup. So, away we go. I am the Guardian of the Fire Temple. It is my duty to protect the Fire Crystal from interlopers, but it is also my duty to accept a fair challenge against any who wish to take the crystal's power as their own. Defeat me in combat, and you shall win your prize. Fire Guardian? Oh, and the other thing is, notably, I added Gloria to the party, swapped out Zach for Gloria. The idea there being that she has some null abilities, which are not going to be super relevant for the Fire Guardian fight, because she doesn't actually have null fire. She has null water, earth, and air. So she's mostly there for the World Saviors, because remember, we can't switch party members in between fights, so that's why she's there. Vern, I think, is mostly going to be on Bernard duty once we do get to the World Saviors as well. So, if you're wondering, what is Gloria doing here? Why is she reacting to the Fire Guardian? I don't remember that happening. Yeah, the reason is because she's now in the party. Fire Guardian, I'm the shaman of the Canonia Legion, and I come here with these people now, seeking the powers of the Fire Crystal, not for our own wants, but for the good of the world. An evil being is planning to steal it soon, so we would ask if we can borrow it for a short while to prevent that. Can we, please? Like, without a battle? Something tells me that's not gonna fly. I bend to the will of no shaman. For a second there, I thought he was gonna say, oh yeah, sure, you're a shaman, no problem. We Guardians are beyond the forces of primal nature. Are you really? Wow. Oh, that was also kind of your thing. It is also never wise to blindly trust when it comes to the power of this caliber. We will duel, or you must test your worth, whatever your motives. Come. Alright, here we go. Fire Guardian is speedy, and will burn, except as long as we hit our reactions, no problem there. Physical attacks, those are potentially tough. However, doing okay on that stuff. So again, big thing is 50% resistances for fire across the board, except for Legion is technically on just 40 because Legion doesn't have access to the Flame Mail, which is the way that Vern and both Mardek got there. So we don't need to be using the Fire Pendants right now. That's the other thing, which allows us to use other items that give us things like HP or other attributes, so that'll be helpful too. Okay, so Gloria, you're actually first here. Hold on, what do we put on under here for Gloria? Is she really that speedy? Or do we just have a bunch of slowpokes? I think we do. Does everyone have 12 agility or lower? Wow, okay. Not often you see that happen, but sure. So we could deliberately null here, but as I was saying, I think that's not really the primary reason we have Gloria in for this fight. She's mostly here for the World Saviors. So right now, we could even throw on bark skins to give some people additional defenses. It's not a bad idea because those physical attacks are actually arguably the most dangerous for us right now, because we can't load up on those defenses quite as easily as we can on the fire resistance. So we'll put it on Mardek first, because he's probably most capable of tanking. And Vern, what's the best course of action for you? In the previous go-round, I'm pretty sure we were mostly just using you as the numb remover. So double check what the light resistance is here 50% on the Fire Guardian, but it's 100% on air, so we are probably still best off doing something like Smite Evil here, even if the Guardian isn't evil per se. 600 or so damage. It will react, but he has numbness immunity, so notably, the reaction does absolutely nothing. That is the huge difference maker. Legion, you will be our primary source of damage, so you could either Bubble Breath or Tsunami. Tsunami, I think, might have higher base damage, so even though it costs more MP, let's do it. 1,800, also not bad. Probably will get a reaction here as well. No, we didn't. So Mardek, let's get ahead here a little bit, and we'll throw on some shields. Ultimately, yes, we definitely will want you to be using your physical attacks, but Empty Claw like that is the type of attack, and Scorch Claw like that we want to be mitigating the damage from. Scorch Claw is Fire Elemental, so that one should be a little bit easier. Gloria, for now, Dark Skin again, I suppose? Let's do that on some other people. Raise their defenses as well, so that they're a little bit more resistant to those attacks. Burn, you can Smite Evil again, and as long as we hit our reaction after this, then it shouldn't be a big problem. In fact, no reaction at all. No problem in that case. Are you immune to curses, Fire Guardian? You must be, right? Actually, not entirely. It's tempting. 90% resistance, I mean, it's very, very unlikely for us to pull that off. Could cause blindness, actually, though, on this. Morbid Bundle, and are you resistant to that? You are not as resistant, so you know what? I think that might be worthwhile. We can pull it off. -2 Vitality, yes, but did not get the blindness. I think we might want to try that a couple more times, though. Mardek, let's throw on more shields. So now both Mardek and Legion are... Oh, no, I missed the reaction on that one. That was the other thing, is I missed a fair bit of reactions on the previous go-round. Hit the reaction on that, though. That is one of the strongest attacks. It will deal a little bit of damage to Legion, because 40% resistance plus another 50% on the magic defensive reaction. So taking 10% damage there, not a lot, and now Legion learns that ability, so looking good there. Gloria, you could of course heal, and Legion's getting a little bit low, so you know that might not be a bad idea. A little bit early for this, but that's okay. Then Burn, use Smite Evil here. Consistent with the damage, no reaction still. Then let's continue to try this. It's not our highest damage option. It's mostly we're doing this, yes, defensively, so that we can try to get blind on. So that way, when the Fire Guardian does use physical attacks, far less dangerous because far less accurate. So let's throw on Physical Shield on Burn next. Blaze, again, against Legion will deal some damage, so we might want to put on... Ooh, okay, Gloria's the only one who does not have any way of mitigating the physical damage, so let's put a Bark Skin on her. She's next on the list. Yeah, it's Smite Evil, that's okay. Go this route. And then, Legion, you have now applied the blindness, so I think we can go back to going more offensive and doing Tsunamis again. Nice. Fire Breath, that's the other thing. We theoretically might want to put on a Magic Shield on Legion specifically, because Legion is a little more vulnerable to that than anyone else. There's also the Inversion Fire that theoretically could end up happening at some point in time. So do people need heals right now? A little bit. Again, this is a little bit proactive here, but I also made sure to load up on a fair bit of MP restoration items, so at the end of this battle, should be able to use a lot of those. So not too concerned about blowing through a lot of MP here. I almost missed that one. No problem, though. And are there any other things that we theoretically might want to do here to inflict, say, numbness? I mean, that's Fire Elemental, so we'd be healing him a bunch. And 80% resistance to numbness. Yes, if we were able to pull that off and get the numbness, then it would be fantastic. But I think let's not get too clever here. Let's stick with the damage. Because it is good. It's a lot of damage. And Mardek, I'm saying, go with a Magic Shield on Legion, I think is the most vulnerable. So we'll start with you. Fire Breath, there you go. Immediately puts it to use. There's the Inversion Fire. So this is important that we hit this reaction here. It will hurt a lot. It deals damage based on our amount of fire resistance, and I think with 50% fire resistance on most people, it would have started dealing 50% damage. We had our reaction, so it dealt a little bit less than that, and Legion had the Magic Shield, so a little bit less still. So, what do we do next? Barkskin Blur, did you use it on yourself? You have. Oh, okay. Oh, actually, Burn is not Barkskin right now. Let's do that. Now, everyone is all defensived up, at least with physical defense. Mardek has only applied the magic shield on Legion thus far. But if there are more inversion fires coming our way, then that could be worthwhile to put on more still. Legion, we have seen in the past that you run out of MP fairly quickly, but I did put on some MP-centric items, so you have a few more turns, a couple more turns, before you'll run out. Magic Shield, I think Mardek probably does make sense to put that on you. Important for you to stay up. There's a physical attack in between the shield and the Barkskin. Almost no damage, no big deal. This should also deal only a tiny bit of damage to Legion specifically, because we hit the reaction. 59, no big deal. You can put on things like Regen for a sustained source of healing. Let's use Gloria to heal now. That's the other thing is, previous go-round, we had Mardek as our only healer, I believe, which put a lot of pressure on Mardek to be a support character and didn't leave a lot of time for him to use his physical attacks, which are, these days, quite strong. No reaction there. Tsunami with Legion. Although we are technically coming close running out of time with that, we will need to put on some more MPs soon. It might even be a Gloria thing. M-Shield, who's next? Mardek does not yet have it. No, he does. In which case, Legion has it too. Why don't we go Gloria next? Okay. Physical attack. You missed, so that's why the blindness was helpful. Make it more likely for that to happen. And then we could say, want to heal? We could heal and help Mardek a little bit here, but it might actually be time for Gloria to put on that NP, like I was saying. So either Mana Berry, or maybe even an Ether, which I think we have in here somewhere. Possibly? Good. Oh, right at the very beginning, in fact. There we go. Gets Legion pretty much right up to full. No problem. Which means we can go back to Tsunami. Okay, and we have... Oh wow, that was a lot of damage. Only, I don't know, maybe like a quarter HP remaining. What we can actually do, this is an interesting one. You can morality block on the Fire Guardian. And you'll see why that's relevant in just a bit here. Not just yet. But remember that the first time round, the Guardian used an ability that gave it some shields. And it was technically a light elemental ability. That was. I think now we can probably do some Whirlpools. Go offensive with Gloria. And so by having a no light on the Guardian, it means that it will not be able to use its ability to gain... Oh, except now we just got rid of it, so like... Hold on, Mardek will reapply that next turn, perhaps. Burn, could you just like maybe take a break with that stuff for a minute? So now that it's on red HP, I think it is fairly likely that it will use it here. So put the no light back on. Now when it tries to do this, it nulls. And therefore, does not get anything. So that means we can continue to deal a bunch of damage to it, not have to worry about those barriers at all. So if we go all-out offense here, this might be enough this go-round to take it out. Burn, Smite Evil, keep at it. Legion, I'm not sure you're going to pull it off with your Tsunami here. But if Mardek follows up with a Water Slash, I think that will probably do the trick. That'll get you down to about 1,000, a little more than 1,000 HP. But I think Water Slash will be enough. Yeah, it will, and in fact, that's enough for Mardek to level up. Almost enough for Gloria and Legion as well. Lose all of our statuses. Get the Fire Fang, we saw that before. The Ruby, Fire Essence. The battle is won. You fought well. Your skills are admirable, and your heart true. It is not with regret that I now let you pass and take possession of this most holy and potent of artifacts, but with confidence that you will save this world from a horrendous threat. I will fade now. I must convert to energy and restore my own vitality for a while. We will not meet again. Okay, so far and away a smoother Guardian fight here. So let's move on take the crystal and immediately, or in fact, you know what? Let's swap over to World Saviors mode now before we forget, just in case we step a little bit too far and trigger that fight before we're ready to go. So, like I said, having fire resistance, numbness immunity, huge difference you saw there. We took almost no damage from that fight, or at least when we did, we could heal it off almost immediately. So now what we want to do, though, is switch from those types of suppleness and fire resistance setups that were pretty specific to the Fire Guardian and go more towards primarily Bernard mode, because we saw when we were fighting the World Saviors last time, Bernard shredded us to pieces with water spells and actually air spells as well. So those are the two things that come to mind. Oh, and dark too. So, Mardek, you do have a ton of RP, so you can get very creative with what you do here. And so you'll see that I've mastered several more skills with him. All the resistances. We still have 4 RP spent. Oh, on plus 10% HP. So what we can do is say if we think we're going to get hit with water, we think we're going to get hit with dark, we can throw those on. We could even throw on a rainbow aura instead of one of those things and get a little more resistances across the board. Remember, this gives 20% resistance to basically everything. But I think that's not quite as good because this is 50% for a specific element, and we're expecting to see a lot of this element. We did see Bernard had an immolate ability, so there was some fire too, so that's not a terrible idea. However, remember, we also have magic defensive reactions here. And so we could say throw on fire, water, dark, and air as well as the other thing. Okay, so we can't quite get everything done here. However, let's make a point of, well, in fact, I already had this on. The Salakian plate mail is significant because it gives 50% air resistance and 100% curse resistance. And remember that Bernard, when he uses his counter, it's dark elemental, and it also applies a curse. So having complete curse immunity on Mardek means that he can use physical attacks against Bernard and shouldn't be too much of a concern. And then if we look at his resistances, very resistant to light, that's not so relevant here. Dark would be good if we could bump that up a little bit more, because again, dark reactions from Bernard, and with a ton of damage at that. We saw last time around, Vern had a ton of dark resistances on, and that was still a fair amount of damage that he was taking from it. And then we saw that when other people attacked Bernard and he countered those that didn't have a lot of dark resistance, he just absolutely obliterated them. So 30% I think is probably not enough. And we do still have the Dark Hat somewhere, I believe. Yes. So that is probably more or less essential for us. That should bring Mardek up to 80% dark resistance. So that is almost enough single-handedly to cover Mardek's bases there. We could, in fact, maybe take off Dark here and put on Air instead, because actually with the Magic Dark reaction, Mardek would heal from Dark spells, and that's nice, in that it's a sustainable source of healing in a way, but I think it's important for him to not take full damage from any abilities. I'd rather cover as many elements as possible and have a reasonable amount of defenses rather than have one thing that we are super resistant to and anything else will take us out in one hit, because once we're dead, we're dead. So I think this is probably the best setup for Mardek here. We do have a little bit of RP to spare. Remember, we could put on Purity, however, our chestplate is giving us Curse Immunity, so that's not necessary. Could put on Bright Eyes. Venny will apply Blindness on occasion, will also apply Poison on occasion, so Antibody wouldn't be a terrible idea either. Antibody, I can probably tank through that. That's not a huge deal. So in that case, I'd probably rather have Bright Eyes on instead. Or we could even put on MP or HP just to make us a little bit tankier. So where does that leave Mardek? 1,400 HP, a little bit of MP that we'll want to restore soon. But like I said, the resistances are looking quite good there. Could even throw on the Shield of Darkness, swap that over from Vern, but Vern also could use that too. That'd be very nice. So, however, there's another thing that we can do for Vern. We can put on the Night Jacket, and that is crucial, because the Night Jacket, in and of itself, gives Absorption, 20% for Dark. Throw on the Eclipse Amulet on top of that, and we have another 50% Dark Resistance. The shield as well means that Vern is going to be absolutely loaded on Dark Resistance. This is overkill. So tell you what, I think we can swap these shields. This way, both Mardek and Vern are over 100% Dark Resistant. That is a huge difference maker. Now we don't have to worry basically at all about Bernard's counterattacks, especially if on Vern we put on Purity, because he is not currently wearing any armor that gives that automatically. The fire, again, Bernard does have a fire ability, so there is something to be said for that. We could throw on Resist Dark, but that's overkill right now, because Vern already has over 100% resistance, although we would like to master this at some point. Not strictly necessary, so take your pick. Bernard has both fire and water skills. As long as... Oh, in fact, tell you what, we do not have the magic water defensive reaction. So I think that means what we do here is we get our water resistance from this one, and then our reaction is where we get the fire resistance from. We even have... Oh, man. We have this dark reaction on Vern. We, again, ideally would have both the air and the water reaction here, because that's probably more valuable than either of these guys. Although it would cost 6 RP, so we would have fallen just short of being able to do it anyway, so I suppose this is okay, just that light is a little bit redundant. Vern would have 200% dark resistance in that case, and like I was saying, I think that's overkill. Would rather also have something like more fire resistance or more air. That's a little bit concerning. So if we could, say, find another way to get air resistance on Vern, that would be fantastic. We are using a Sapphire Bangle, at least at the moment, and that is giving some water resistance, which is nice, because again, there is also a water spell that Bernard will use. So where do we take it from here? I'm not sure we can do much better with Vern. Skull Helmet is good for at least getting a little bit more HP. Not sure we have much other than the Dark Helmet, though, to give us resistances from the helmet spot. So I think we're going to have to get by with this. Then as for others, Gloria... We were using the Inventing Coat, which is Meridor's armor, because that has 50% fire resistance, which is ideal for the Fire Guardian. However, let's just take a look at you in terms of resistances here. You're actually looking pretty decent as well. You have both fire and water 50% resistance right now. Air would be the other thing that we'd want to load up on, though, and you have minus 20% resistance to that, so that is a bit of a concern. We could throw on that resistance, so that's probably worthwhile. Unfortunately, not enough RP to get fire, water, and air simultaneously. Which one would we like to sacrifice? Take your pick. Either way, we're not going to be entirely covered for one of them. So I think we probably take off, say, water and put on air. Because what we could do is take off this turquoise and see if we have another one of the Sapphire Bangles. I hope we do. And that would give us even more water resistance. Mardek, Gloria, and Vern, you both have one right now. Do we have any more lying around, though? I feel like we might have on other people's inventories, but of course right now, those are no longer accessible to us, because we'll run into the World Saviors before we make our way back to the Saved Crystal. That's why this is so difficult, of course. And yeah, I think we're just going to have to look for something else to put in this spot here, in which case... we don't want to put on a fire pendant, because that gives us vulnerability to water. Don't want to put on an air pendant, that gives us vulnerability to fire, and we will see fire damage. Did we see any earth damage? That is the only element that I feel like we might not have seen. In which case, we could put on a water pendant, and that would be a way of boosting our water defenses without having to worry about also making ourselves weak to a different element. That's a little bit tempting. We could also, well, I would say Geo Jacket, except Geo Jacket is Earth, so for the same reason, not super relevant to do that. Rainbow shirt? Hold on a second. Let's throw that on. And then I do believe there was a time when, yes, Gloria actually has mastered the Rainbow Aura, and in fact, also has Resist Dark here, mastered. So can't quite do both Resist Dark and Rainbow Aura. It would be nice. I'm thinking we actually go with the Rainbow Aura here. Let's see where that leaves you. It's a little bit better. A little bit better now. Water is not a big deal. Earth is not a huge deal. If we could, say, put on fire and air for your magic defensive reactions, then I think you'd be looking pretty good here. And we can do just that. Throw those back on. Okay. I think that's decent. For the little bit of RP you have remaining here, we could, say, put on antibody for the poison immunity. I don't necessarily think that's crucial for you. Again, I'm not terribly concerned about that. So maybe instead we put on some MP and HP. We'll have to take our pick though. Maybe we go for HP to make you a little bit tankier, and then some Spirit. We'll give you a little bit of MP along with that and a little bit more spell power. So that's useful. Okay, nothing there. Then Legion, you're next on the list. You are tough. Oh, in fact, Gloria, you still have another accessory spot we can put something in. We should, at the very least, put something there, right? We could put on something that boosts some Spirit by 2, again, just to give her a little more firepower. I'm not sure what else, though, because I think for the most part, we would like to put on some things. Oh, what am I saying? Here are the other bangles. There we go. Now, Gloria should be tapped on water as well. In fact, actually heals to water. So that's great. No problems there. Then, now, if we look at Legion, you are definitely on a Fire Guardian specific setup here with a little bit of fire resistance and numbness immunity. So, for that, the problem with you is we don't have very much flexibility on your chest plate. So, that's going to stay. Can't put on things like the rainbow shirt or dark jacket or night jacket for additional elemental resistances. Your helmet, we could theoretically throw something else on, but I think we'll probably be okay there. It's mostly just the accessories. And how can we get some resistances on there? I mean, the same thing we're looking at with Gloria, it's going to be a little bit tough. However, I think the Lapis Lily is also a source of 50% water resistance and also 50% curse resistance, and silence as well. So that's actually a pretty good pickup. Only 1 magic defense is a little bit on the low side, yes. So what else can we do, though, to cover that last spot there? If we want to use Gemsplosion, and I think we might, then that probably means just throwing in something strong, gem-wise there. And we saw that the World Saviors don't have much in the way of elemental weaknesses, and there's not any one element that is particularly effective against every single one of them. So I think for that reason, we could even go with an Evening Star, which I believe is possibly our rarest and therefore most powerful of gems, and therefore deals the most damage with Gemsplosion. That might be the way to go. I don't think anyone's going to be weak to it, but either that or the Canderythope are probably just the highest raw damage. If we double check Legion's abilities here, then I think we were mostly just, well, we can get rid of suppleness. That was something that was definitely specific to the Fire Guardian. Although, outside of that, Mechanical Body, I suppose, for poison, zombification, and bleeding immunity, the poison is useful. We can get rid of that. Then, other than that, is there anything else that we really want to see? Bright Eyes, we could make it so that Benny can't blind us. I suppose there's something to that. Probably still going to be using mostly spells with Legion, so it might not be a huge difference maker. And then maybe get rid of +1 Spirit to get +2 Strength? Or Agility? Take your pick. Other than that, you're also a little bit low on the magic defensive reactions. That's not a great sign, because if you only have Fire Legion, you're definitely looking like you're going to be the most vulnerable here. So bear that in mind. Legion, I think, is going to be the person that we're going to be spending the most time reviving with Phoenix Downs. Not much in the way of magic defensive reactions, or any sort of elemental resistance for that matter. The other thing to note is I put on Degeneration on a few people, so I suppose in this way it is helpful for Legion to be having the ability to use physical attacks. Remember that people gained regeneration from Aelia at the very beginning, and that created a ton of problems for us. So being able to get rid of that with Legion, and then I also at least mastered it on Mardek and Vern as well. A little bit harder to say whether it's worthwhile for them, because that means sacrificing some other useful things, namely damage. So, like, if we're willing to take off something like Drain HP, I mean, that is not damage, that's defensive. But do we go this route just to give ourselves a way of consistently getting rid of that regen? I think that is probably worthwhile, to tell you the truth. Mardek, do you do the same thing there? I think you might. I think you might. Other than that, on the physical defenses, mostly just dark and light. I'm not sure that's going to make a huge difference there. Mardek might be the only one who actually has choices to make on that front. Oh, Vern, tell you what. Can throw on a little bit extra here. Could say get evasion. Sure. That's actually, yeah, that could be a difference maker. I think that's going to be just about it for you. Okay, I think we're looking pretty good in terms of items and skills. Now we're on almost full HP. Let's just restore some MP, as you can see here. Definitely not on full there. So we could say, I'm thinking we could get the job done with just these berries. That would be fantastic, because ideally we'd be saving our stronger versions, the ethers, for the actual battles, because then time is of the essence. Okay, and then if we could just get a little bit more from Mardek. Yeah, not quite on max MP. And let's do it just to be safe. Okay. And Gloria, again, theoretically, just a tiny bit of HP would perhaps be helpful. Throw a normal potion on you. Been a long time since we used any of those. Oh, Legion. There you go, buddy. Don't worry about it. Okay, so now I think we're ready for the big World Saviors fight, and so any advantage that they would have had from catching us off guard with low HP, low MP, and bad skills and items for that given matchup, not gonna happen this time. This time, we're ready to go. One thing I just want to remind myself of is, did we put on the Curse Immunity? Because that was big. We have it on Vern, and then Mardek, I believe, has an item that's already given it to him, so if we go to the party here, we're looking a lot at these resistances, yes, but we can also see, in terms of statuses, Mardek is completely immune to blindness and curses. Vern, curses, but not blindness. I think that's probably still okay, because Mardek can remove the blindness fairly easily if necessary. This is looking good. Let's give this a shot. Oh, and of course we do still need to take the fire crystal.
This is the fire crystal, the second so far. It is an amazing thing to come into possession of two of the world's most powerful and important relics. We'll never get them all, though. The more we collect, the more likely something catastrophic will happen to stop us. I have always wondered what would happen if two crystals were in the same place at once, but it seems that nothing's happening. They don't interfere with each other's energies at all, oddly enough.
Especially seeing as how we have water and fire right now next to each other, which is a bit of a strange combination. Yet another of Yalort's magnificent crystals. Truly we are blessed by him.
We are making good progress, but there are still crystals left to gather. Come along.
Okay, and here we go. Once we step through this door, things are looking gray, yes, but more importantly, World Saviors are back. And this time, things are gonna go differently. Bartholomew, nah-uh-uh. Damn it all! If we hadn't split up, we wouldn't have had all that messing about with trying to reunite again, and we would have been here first. Whose stupid idea was that? Rah.
Wasn't it your idea?
Anyway, that's not important now. What's important is that they're weakened from that battle, except we aren't anymore because we expected this to happen. That we just watched them fight. So now is our chance. We must attack and take the crystal that is rightfully ours. Give it to us your hardest, petty soldiers. Okay, I think Aelia will still go first. That is the key difference, or the key thing that we did not address this time was finding a way to get rid of Aelia quickly. We were definitely focusing on Bernard first and foremost. There's Glaciate, that's the water skill, 0 damage. Love to see it. So the question is, do we actually make a point of taking out Aelia first? That's what we did back in Chapter 2, what with her being the healer. Or do we instead get rid of the DPS in Bernard? Because I think Bernard is nowhere near as dangerous as he was previously, fortunately. However, I'm not sure we're going to be able to take out Aelia quickly enough. We do also have ways to remove the regeneration, so at least some of the things that Aelia does, we can counter a little bit. She did have time to put on physical shields, but not magical ones. So that means that, say, if we were to attack you with Gloria, well, there's no specific elements that we are supposed to use against you, per se. But if we were to go with something like a Twister and slow you down, that might actually help. Have someone else be able to go before you. 565 damage is actually, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. And then we could make a point of going with a spell against you, a Green Lightning from Burn. That might actually be more effective than a physical attack, because we could go Smite Evil, yes. But you have the physical barrier on, so that will deal half damage. How much Spirit does Vern have right now? We did a bit of boosting. He's on 16 plus 6. Still thinking Smite Evil might be slightly better. Let's give it a shot. About 500 damage. I think it would have been unlikely for Green Lightning to do that much damage. Then for Aelia, I mean, again, for Legion, as long as it's not dark or light, then theoretically that should do some damage, and it could be Tsunami, it could be Raging Inferno, and that would take out multiple people. Could even Curse. Does that work on Aelia? It does not. Okay, notably it does not. So I think we go with, say, a Tsunami and give that a shot, see what happens here. We might still get a reaction from Bernard. And no, apparently not. So Aelia is down to just 700, a little above that, HP. However, Physical Shield, yes. Gonna make things a little bit harder for Mardek to break through. If we were to use a Water Slash here, might that be enough? Not quite. She is still oh no, they threw a potion at her. She's putting on, oh, she's using healing, which is actually, might be a good thing. So I think we can still out-damage her this go-round. We dealt far more than 600 damage to her. That's gonna hurt on Legion. Legion does not have as good elemental resistances, but we hit our reaction, so not a huge deal. Let's continue to twist her and slow people down. So if we can slow them down, then we did find that several people are faster than us, which is tricky. So now Vern, maybe we can try going a different route here, but I think Smite Evil was okay. About 500 damage, yes. There's an attack from Bartholomew. Not too bad, to tell you the truth. We go for another Tsunami or an Inferno this time. Maybe an Inferno. Mix things up a little bit. Technically speaking, there might be a correct answer. There might be an element, yes, that is a little bit more effective against some people, and I think that did deal a bit more damage, so maybe that's better. Maybe we just happen to get a little luckier with the rolls. Aelia is extremely low here, so I think we definitely target her. She's down. That's huge. Bernard, you're next. Got my eye on you, buddy. Thunderstorm, that's the air elemental attack that hits everyone, and Legion actually does learn it, so that is useful. And it's the one that we had probably the worst resistances to. Let's make a point to healing here. Fortunately, we got rid of Aelia before she had time to put on regen, and before she had time to put on the magic shield. People do still have physical shields, yes, so we'll need to break through those, or at least we'll have to try to deal damage through them. No way to actually get rid of them here. But Smite Evil, that is the thing that we were keeping you here for, Vern. You are on Bernard duty. He will react, however, this should heal you. And in fact, it actually killed Bernard, because Bernard, I think we suspected it last time. We were wondering if he was leeching from that reaction. He did, except since he dealt negative damage to Vern, because Vern has over 100% dark resistance, he just killed himself. So, also worked extremely well that time. So now, Bartholomew, I think you're probably next, but we could perhaps curse Benny and make him basically meaningless. That's what we did last time, and I think that was very effective. So Benny, I mean, you will still attack us, yes, but primarily your thing is that you deal a bunch of status effects, and now that you can't do that anymore, shouldn't be too much of a problem. So now we can focus on Bartholomew, and what is the right answer for you? The answer is just not Earth. And Mardek, we could throw on shields or heal here. Theoretically speaking, Bartholomew will deal a fair bit of damage at this point in time because we've taken out a few of his friends, so his damage will go up. And he has enough HP that I think it's still going to take us a few turns to take him out, so it is probably worthwhile for us to load up on some defenses a little bit here. And there you see, 66 damage from Benny, not going to be a problem. We could perhaps slow you guys down even more. Let's just look at the turn order real quick. Bartholomew is still on 10 agility, which is tied with Legion and slightly faster than Mardek, so it would perhaps be kind of helpful if we were to twist her here. Probably not terribly effective against Benny, because he's air elemental, but at least getting -1 agility will help us a bit. Legion can now go before Bartholomew here. Smite Evil, probably also unlikely to be a key damage dealer against you. You have 20% resistance to it. Not a huge deal, although your default attacks for it are actually air, and therefore that might be better. Let's try that. Again, Green Lightning you could potentially do. Oh, he does have a reaction, in fact. But he does have some earth resistance, so that's probably not a great idea. Could go with a Gem Explosion here. It is Thalma Elemental, and so give it a shot. And 1000 damage is not bad. There's a power attack on Vern, and Vern is, yeah, pretty hurt right now. He's taking a few big hits from Bartholomew, so let's make a point of healing him. And he's back up to full. Not an issue. Gloria. If you twist her again, I think now Mardek will also be faster than Bartholomew. And he's on pretty low HP here. Doesn't have the regen again, so that means that any damage that we deal here is pretty much permanent unless Venny wants to throw another potion at him, like he did with Aelia. Little bit more. Oh, here's the reaction again against Vern. Seems like he's more likely to use reactions when you attack him with physical attacks. And speaking of physical attacks, normally you would be weak to dark. You actually are. Could make a point of using something like, say, Morbid Fondle here. Could even cause blindness. Give it a shot. If you do get blinded, which you did not, that would be very helpful. Although I didn't even see, does he have any resistance to blindness? He does not. So, yeah, that would be great if we could make it happen, but unfortunately it didn't happen that time. He's pretty low here. I don't think Mardek's going to be able to do it by himself, so maybe we take a turn here, be a little bit patient, throw on another shield. Bartholomew fortunately misses there. Gloria might have been in trouble if he had landed that, because we did not yet have a shield on Gloria. Could also put on Barkskin, load up on a little bit more defenses, but I think at this point, Gloria, you are more useful to us with your spells because you are one of our primary magic healers. And -1 spirit is not going to be a huge deal, but I think that water is probably more effective against Venny than air. Yeah, that's why I swapped it over a little bit. Okay, and then Vern, if you were to smite evil on Bartholomew, it might be enough here. It's going to be close. Not quite. There's the reaction as well. Legion, though, if you were to say use a Raging Inferno, I think that would do it. Eventually, we'll see. Yes, Bartholomew down. Just Venny, and he is cursed. So that means that this should be fairly straightforward from here. Mardek, you can definitely go all-out offense here. Venny will counter, or at least take his actual turn. Not technically a reaction, but at this point, not a lot of damage remaining here for Venny, and no statuses, so no problem at all. Turn, smite evil. And we're not quite there yet, but Legion, if you could say, I don't know, take your pick. How do we want to get rid of him? Let's try the new Thunderstorm ability, because we just learned this from Bernard. And there we go. World Savior's down. Nowhere near as tough when, of course, you are prepared to go in with full HP, full MP. Items that are actually useful for this fight, and skills that are specific to this fight as well. So, get an elixir, that's a really strong potion. Speedy juice for some haste. Gold ring, Heather of Kings. Let's take it all. Burn even Masters of Evasion, what with all the physical reactions against him from Bartholomew. Why can't we win? Oh, I'm sorry, Bartholomew. You tried to cheat and take us out right after another fight, and yet you still lost. What is it about you, little soldier man? Little knight? We are heroes. We always win. The world is made for us to win it. That's the way these things work. At least, I always thought. Always thought? Hey there, boss. They're probably just meant to be some of them recurring antagonists, and we always lose to, but they'll get their comeuppance in the end when we defeat them in the final battle. That must be it. Yes, there's no other explanation for how or why you could lose to them this many times. You know, or maybe you're actually the antagonist and we're actually the protagonist, but who knows, who knows. But you, fellow heroes, we are all trying to save the world together here. It is true that we will be the ones to ultimately do the greatest good and defeat the final boss, yes, but I'm sure that you will have your part in the big drama that is life too. So, I want to ask of you, excuse me? Can I have a look at the crystal, please? Bartholomew? No, absolutely not. Well, only if you look and don't steal it. Yeah, but see, Mardek, the thing is like, I swear by my strong, firm, lawful, good-beating heart that I will use no trickery. That is Benny's job. Well, here then, look. My word! It is truly magnificent.
Whew. That beauty will be worth a pretty penny. Think of the people whose lives it could change for the better with one of those. OMG, it looks so powerful and magical and amazing.
I prefer the dark one myself, but I was quite a fan of this one too, back in the day. Bernard? Excuse me? Thank you for showing us this, Knight. I just hope that we will manage to get our hands on one of our own one of these days. We will use this as motivation to try even harder. After all, we are bound to find them eventually, for we are the world's saviors, the protagonists and heroes of this world. Yeah, I mean, keep telling yourselves that. Now away with our saviors! We will get the next crystal before these petty soldiers for sure. Yeah, except maybe not. So with that, we have now successfully taken out both the Fire Guardian and the World Saviors after that, and just look at the dramatic difference between what happened the first time versus what happened the second time. One, you are not necessarily prepared to fight two big fights, one right after the other, and the other when you are. So next on our list would of course be the Earth Crystal, and will we beat the World Saviors to it? Only time will tell.